Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mandy. In today's video, we're gonna continue with the building radicals. We have quite a lot of building radicals, and in the last video, we already talked about these two, the rooftop and the cave. In today's video, we're gonna continue with these three. Now let's get the 田字格 ready and the pens ready. First of all, let's talk about the difference between the building radicals we're going to talk about today. The first one, this is 广. It's a building-related radical, and it emphasizes on the half-open building. Okay, half-open building. We'll talk about that later. I'll give you some example. And the second one is this. You can call it 长. And this one, it focuses on the building with simple structure. And the third one we're going to talk about today, who. As for the who, it originally evolved from half of the door. And here is the evolution of it. It's half of the door, so it's also related to the building, and it's just a regular building. So these are the three building radicals we're going to talk about today, and I would like to just take a few minutes. I would like to talk about the building related radical that we talked about in the last video, and they could be the rooftop radical, and as we mentioned before, it emphasizes on the resident building. Yeah, and mostly for human being. Okay, and since it's a human being resident building, so it also emphasizes on the family bond. And the other one we talk about is this one. This is the cave. Different from the rooftop, it emphasizes on small space, because it's a cave, right? It emphasizes on the small space and the home for animal, right? Because quite a lot of animals live in the cave. Now let's get started with the first building radical we are going to talk about today. This is 广, and this refers to half open building. Okay, so what type of building is half open? Well, it could be dian. Dian is a shop. See, it makes sense, right? Because you need to open the shop for the customers. Okay, so there's a lot of shops we can talk about. We can have 书 店 书店 书 is the book. 店 is the shop. 书店 bookshop. 面 包 店. 面包 is bread. 店 is the shop. So, 面包店, the bread shop, make bakery. Very easy. And if you want to talk about just a shop, just any shop, that would be 商店. 商 is business. 店 is shop. So 商店 business, shop, that would be any type of shop. Let's continue with the next example. 庙. 庙, it means temple. So temple is a building for people to go there and stand there praying. So a temple is a half-open building, and it makes sense. So usually we say 寺庙. 寺庙 is a temple. Okay, and the next example. 库. As you might notice, in the 库, underneath, this is the 车, as we talk about in the car-related radical. The 车 is car, and a car under the building. Let me show you the evolution of this character. Originally, it refers to the place for storing cars and weapons in the wartime. And after thousands of years of evolution, now the 库 refers to garage and warehouse. So let's get to some word. As garage, we can say 车库. 车 is the car, 库 is the garage. So very simple and straightforward. 车库 is garage. And the next one. 仓库. 仓库, it would be the warehouse. Let's continue. Next one. 座. As for the 座, I would like to talk a little bit more about the inside. And you can see the inside part of it. We have 2 people and a dirt. So people, 2 of them sit on the dirt, which is also the ground. And 坐 itself, it means sit. So now let's go back to this 坐. We have a building and people sit in it. So that would make it seat. For this 坐, it's a verb, sit. For this 坐, it's the actual seat. Okay, so let's get to a word. We can say 坐 位 座位 it means the seat. So my seat, that would be 我的座位. That's it, very simple. Let's try to remember the both character, this 座 and this 座. Let's make it a sentence. How about we say, I sit in my seat. Okay, that would be 我坐在我的座位上 OK 我 I 坐 sit 在 at 我的 my 座位 seat 上 on. So that would be I sit at on my seat. Beside meaning the seat, it could also serve as a measure word. The measure word for big architecture and for big mountain. Okay, here is the example to say a mountain. A mountain, we can say 一座山一座山座 is the measure word here, and 山 is the mountain. Okay, 一座山 a mountain. As for the architecture, you can say 一座桥一座桥 as we talk about it in the wood related radical, the 桥 could mean a bridge. So a bridge is architecture, right? 一座桥 it just means a bridge. So with a lot of architecture, and then you can have 一座城市一座城市 it's a city. Okay, so next 汉字府 Here is the evolution of the character 府. Originally, it refers to the place to store a lot of paperwork and property. And since there's a lot of paperwork and property, so it could be the building for authority or the resident building for rich and powerful people. Nowadays, the fu, it could be authority building, the building where the authority is, and it could also be the resident for rich and powerful people. We're still keeping this word for this meaning to show respect. And here I will give you some example. First of all is the authority. We can have zheng fu. Zheng itself, it means politics. And fu is the authority building, right? So 政府 together, it would make government. And the second meaning for the fu, the resident for rich and powerful people, this is how we use it. So you use your family name plus the fu. For example, one of the most popular Chinese family name is Li. Li, and then we put the fu after it. So that would be Li Fu, and that could mean like Li's home or Li's family. So we use it more often in the ancient time, and as for modern time, we still use it to show respect. For example, we use it during the wedding. When we're sending out the wedding invitation, we will put this type of word on the invitation and be formal. Okay, that's enough of the fu. Let's get to the next example. This one's pretty simple. The building radical and the da. Qing. Here is the evolution of the character Qing. And there's a theory saying that the original meaning is the ancient people will use the deer skin as the gift to send to others to celebrate. So the inside part of the Qing, it represents a deer. And after thousands of years of evolution, the inside part of it have changed a lot. And the modern version of the Qing is da. And if you understand it in the modern version of it, I think it also makes sense, right? Because when you want to celebrate, you want to make it big. You want to make it a big party, or you celebrate it in a big place. Anyway, I think the ancient version and the modern version, they all make sense. So, Qing is to celebrate. And we say, 庆祝. 祝, as we learn it in the God-related radical, the 祝, it could mean to wish. So 庆祝, celebrate, and wish, that would be just celebrate. Okay, 庆祝. So for example, we can celebrate birthday, and that would be 庆祝生日. 生日 is birthday. 庆祝生日. Or we can celebrate New Year. So that would be 庆祝 新年新年 is New Year. So 庆祝新年 celebrate New Year. Let's continue the next example. Fei. It means trash or abandon. There's a theory saying that the character used to refers to the building that collapsed and got abandoned. Let me give you some word with the fei. The first one is fei. Wu. Fei is trash and abandoned. Wu is thing, as we mentioned about it in the animal related radical. This is the ox radical. The wu means things. So trash things, abandoned things. So fei wu would be just trash. It would be just trash. And the extension of it, it could also mean loser. Yeah, it's really rude, so be careful of using this. And the next word, fei. Qi. Fei is trash, abandoned. Qi is to give up. So altogether, it just focuses on the abandoned. For example, abandoned houses. We can say fei qi的房子。房子 it could mean house. And as for the 房, this part of the 房, this is also the building related radical we will talk about in this video. And 废弃的房子 abandoned house. Let's move on to the next radical. 厂. For this radical, it emphasizes on the simple structure building. And here is the evolution of this character. The original version of it, it represents a cliff. So which means a building is so simple, just like the mountain cliff. Okay, let's get to some real character. The first one. 厕. It means toilet. Of course, nowadays we can have some very fancy toilets, have all the smart devices. But back in the ancient time, toilet is the least beautiful part of the building, right? It's pretty simple. So that would make sense. But I want to point out inside part of the 厕 shell radical. And here we have a knife radical because these are the radical we just mentioned about. But it's not really related to the toilet because these two put together, it makes 泽. And 泽 serve as a sound radical to the 侧. So the most important role of the 则 right here is serve as a sound radical. It's not taking the meaning to the 侧. Now let's get to the real word, toilet. We can say 厕所. 厕所 is the toilet room. And let's have one more word. We can say 厕纸. 厕 is the toilet, and 纸 is the paper or tissue. Yeah, so 厕纸, toilet paper, toilet tissue. And let's get to the next one. Next example is pretty simple to write, pretty easy to write. 厅. The 厅 means a hall, right? Because a hall usually is a big place. It could have a lot of decoration, but it usually is a pretty simple structure. The inside part of it, this is 丁, and as you can see, 丁, 听, so it serves as a sound radical. Now let's get to some word with the 听. We can say 课厅. The 课, as we mentioned about it in the rooftop radical video, the 课, it could mean guest. And 厅 is the hall. So in the house, there's a hall for the guests, and that would be the living room. And the next example, 饭厅. For the 饭, the left side of it, you can see this is a food radical. And the 饭, it means meal. 厅 is hall. So the meal hall make the dining hall. And let's get to the next example. 厨. 厨, this is an interesting word to talk about. In the outside part of it, this is a building radical. And inside part of it, on the left, it have a this. And this is 豆. It means bean. And the right side, this is 寸. 寸 means inch. I want to show you a sneaky way to remember the word. It's not the real origin of the 厨 character, but it's an easy and sneaky way to remember it, okay? So now you have a building radical and you have bean. And the bean is a very important food in the world. And as for the 寸, it means inch. It means that if you are going to cook, you have to cut the food into inches so you can cook it and eat it, right? So now imagine you're in the building and you're cooking food and you're cutting food into inches. So that would make 厨. It could mean kitchen and the chef. Let's get to some real word. The first one is 厨 房 厨房 the 房 this one it means the house or the room. So now we have it right here, so we know 厨房 together it's definitely the kitchen. Okay, and we have 厨 师 the 师 right here it means the master in the kitchen. That would be the chef. So 厨师 is the chef. So by far all these examples they are pretty physical. They're referring to an actual thing. And now I would like to introduce you more examples, but they are more abstract. And let's get into it. The next one, 压 the 压 could mean press or pressure. Yeah, there's a theory saying that this part, it could represent the mountain cliff. And we know that this is the dirt and ground. And as for the dot, there's a theory. It says it represents the invisible things, and that could be the pressure. So this is a theory that I learned, and I think it makes sense. So I want to share it here. So anyway, 压 is the press or pressure. Now let's get to some word. The first one, 压力 压力 is the pressure. 力 is the strength. So 压力 it just means pressure. To say a lot of pressure, so we can say 压力大. So big pressure, right? So not a lot of pressure, that would be 压力小. The pressure's small, so that's not a lot of pressure. And let's talk about some other pressure. 血压 血 is blood. 压 is pressure. So it's very straightforward. 血压 is blood pressure. Gao. Gao, it means tall or high. So 血压高, it means the blood pressure is high. If you want to switch it and say high blood pressure, so that would be 高血压. So the word order is exactly the same as in English. And now let's say the opposite. The blood pressure is low. So low would be 低. D is low. So the blood pressure is low. That would be 血压低. If you want to switch it and say low blood pressure, that would be 低血压. Ya means press, and let me give you some verb. Ya,缩. Ya means to press. 缩 means shrink. So you press it and shrink it would be compress. For example, a compressed file. Now let's say file. 文件. 文件 is file. So 压缩文件, compressed file. And the last one I would like to introduce to you for the ya. Ya. Yi. Ya means to press. The yi means strained. Ya yi, it would make depress or repress. For example, you can say 压抑情绪. 情绪 is emotion. So 压抑情绪 is to repress the emotion. You hold your emotion back. Next example. 力. Here is the evolution of the character 力. And the original form of it means a scorpion under the cliff, which refers to the mountain cliff can be as dangerous as a scorpion. After years of evolution, the character Li, it could mean serious, terrible, or awesome. Yeah, I know why terrible and awesome, because they're all extremely something. I'll give you some example. The first one is 严厉. 严, it means strict. 厉 could mean serious. 严厉 refers to a very strict and serious personality. For example, you can say 严厉的老师. Lao shi, easy, we know it's teacher. 严厉的老师, which means the strict teacher or the serious teacher. And the next word I would like to show you is very, very commonly used in Chinese, and that would be 厉害. 厉害. It's a very commonly used word, and it could mean very different things. The first meaning, it could mean very, very terrible. Usually, it's a very terrible and bad situation. I'll give you a sentence. 他的头痛的厉害 ，OK， 他的头痛的厉害，他的 his 头 head 痛 pain 的 is a complement marker as we mentioned many times. And 厉害 now it refers to terrible in the bad situation. Terrible. So as we can see, we have a complement marker here. So now here is the detail. It described how painful is that. So it's terribly painful. So 他头痛的厉害 which means his head is painful, terribly painful. And the second meaning of the 厉害, it could mean awesome. And usually it refers to someone's skill. For example, 他的中文很厉害。Okay， 他的 his 中文 Chinese language 很 very 厉害 awesome because this is a skills. This is his Chinese language skill. So 厉害 here it refers to awesome. Together, 他的中文很厉害. His Chinese is awesome. His Chinese is very good. In short, 厉害 could mean terrible in the bad situation. And it could also be the opposite. It could mean awesome. It refers to someone's skills. But how do I know which one means which? No worry, you will always understand it in the context. Now let's moving on to the third building related radical today. And that would look like this. Who. As you can see from the evolution of this character, it originally evolved from half of the door. So it's more related to the regular building. Now let's get to some example. The first one, 房 it could mean a room or a house. And if you want to be very specific, to say the room, it would be 房间 房间 it's the room because the 间 it means space. And just a little heads up, the 间, this is the door radical. And we will going to talk about the door radical in the next video. So 房间 is the room, and let's get to the house. That would be 房子. 房子 is the house. Not always the big house. It could also refers to an apartment, just a house, a place for you to live. Just to help you to remember these two words, you can put it in the same sentence. You can say 他的房子有两个房间. Okay, so let's see. 他的 his 房子 house 有 have 两个 two 房间 room. Okay, so it's very clear. But wait a minute, if you have watched my last video, I also talk about the other characters that means room, which is 室. So what's the difference between 房和室? Well, in ancient Chinese, they could refer to different type of the room because you know the social class is very important. So people with different social status, they will live in different type of room. So that's why people create different word to describe different room. But in modern Chinese, the 房和室, they're basically the same. They're just being used in different words. And here is a list of different words come with the 房和室. But just to remind you, the 房和室, they're not always replaceable. Sometimes they can replace each other, but in many cases, they're not replacing each other. Moving on to the next example. 所 所, it could mean place. I just want to point out that on the left side of the 所, it's a little different from dot and then this. It changed a little bit, slightly different. Okay, so the 所, it means place. Like we just mentioned before, a few minutes ago, we say 厕所. So the 所, it means place, technically. And the 厕 is the toilet. So the literal meaning of 厕所 is the toilet place. And the next one, we can say 场所. 场 it's also meaning the big place. 所 is the place. 场所 it means the place in general. We can say 公共场所公 is public. 共 it could means share. So public share places. 公共场所 is public place. And here's more example. 研究所研究 is research. 所 is the place. So the place for you to do research, it could be a academic institution. For example, a medical institution. So let's put medical. 医学医 is medical. 学 is study and learn. So 医学 is medical study. 研究所 is academic institution. And the next word, 诊所诊 it means diagnose the disease, and 所 is the place. So the place that can diagnose the disease, that would be the clinic. We have another word, hospital is 医院, and 医院 refers to the formal big hospital, and 诊所 it just refers to a clinic. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy it and you learned something from this video. And if you find it helpful, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you. If you want the practice sheet, you can download it from my website. I'll drop the link down below in the description box. And I'm Mandy. I'll see you in the next video.